Hello friends and welcome back to the Brockopp side. Today we got ourselves a Season 2 review of Titans. And if you guys are new here, please consider hitting that subscribe button if you live talking by movies as well as the occasional DC comic show. So before we go into the review, let me just say right here, there are going to be some spoilers present throughout, so if you want to go into the show completely blind, then you might not want to watch this video, but for everybody else that has seen it, well, let's get into it. So one of the cool things about this season of Titans was finally getting to see them all together in Titans Tower, working together to fight some bad guys including Dr. Light and Deathstroke. And probably the strongest thing about Season 2 was seeing Dick Grayson's further journey of atoning through the past, trying to move on, and just trying to move forward with his life and with the future. That was really great because it's something that kind of started in Season 1 of the show, and now we're kind of transitioning because at the end of Season 1, he gave up the Robin title, burnt the suit, so now in this season he's trying to figure out what to do with his life next, and he thought, restarting the Titans was the thing to do, but then of course, a lot of bad things happened because of it, so he has to atone for those, and we get to see him try to figure out what exactly his role is as a hero and in the Titans itself, so that was really one of the most compelling parts of Season 2 for myself. And he finally becomes Nightwing by the end of the season, which is something that was teased throughout this season, and we all knew it was going to happen because, everybody knows that Dick leaves Batman, stops being Robin, then becomes Nightwing, becomes his own hero, so it was really cool to finally see that fully realized in the season finale of the show. The suit looks super cool with the blue emblem and the Eskrima sticks and stuff. I've been really wanting to see a live-action Nightwing in some capacity for a long time, so finally getting to see Brenton Thwaites as Robin turn into the Nightwing character was super cool, and it was very well worth the anticipation. So we're also introduced to Ian Glenn from Game of Thrones as an older Bruce Wayne, and before I say anything else, no, he does not suit up as Batman at all in the show, so if you're gonna come in expecting that, don't. But it was really cool to see like a slightly different take on Bruce Wayne. Ian Glenn is obviously a bit older than what we've seen live action Bruce Wayne's before. He's of course still got, the Wayne mannerisms, a lot of straight face stuff with the occasional grin in there, which, has a bigger impact because he doesn't grin or smile all that often. But he's also got a little bit more of a sentimental vibe with him too, because, he's been Batman for probably a very long time because, he did raise Dick Grayson, now he's got Jason Todd, so getting to see this little bit of a different Bruce Wayne is kind of cool, but he does have, like, some of his kind of sassy moments too, because, while there are some in-person interactions between Bruce and Dick, a lot of their interactions in the season are actually inside of Dick's head. Dickhead. There are some moments where Dick is struggling, to go through some situations, and then, he sees a vision of Bruce Wayne. Basically, it's one of those moments where, an important person in the character's life just kind of comes in like a vision form, be like, yo, quit being a bitch. And probably my favorite Bruce Wayne moment comes from one of these vision hallucination sequences where Dick sees Bruce on stage with his dancing girls and he actually performs the Bat-Tootsie, the classic Adam West, Batman dance. That moment might actually be the highlight of Season 2 for me. Aside from the whole Nightwing thing, but anywho. And we're also introduced to Deathstroke, aka Slade Wilson, played by Isai Morales, and I think he actually does a pretty damn good job playing this Deathstroke character. His suit is probably the best live-action Deathstroke suit that we've gotten, if you don't count Joe Manganiello's really tiny cameo as Deathstroke at the end of Justice League. And much like some other interpretations of Deathstroke, this one is very much fueled by rage and revenge against our heroes for things that they did to him in the past. This was also true of Manu Bennett, who played Deathstroke on CW's Arrow, but here I think it works a little more because in Arrow, Deathstroke was under the influence of Mirakuru, so that, kind of clouded his judgment a lot. But this one, it's like, yeah, there's definitely none of that happening here with this Deathstroke, because it's like, yeah, I think if I were in his shoes, I'd want to get revenge on these guys as well. And we also get some brand new Titans in this show, including Superboy, Crypto, Aqualad, who freaking dies in a flashback sequence, as well as Ravager, who's the daughter of Deathstroke, who kind of joins the Titans' side and starts to get the feely-feels for Jason Todd, so, that's a thing. And I think things are more tonally consistent this season than they were in Season 1, because Season 1, one of the big pushes was that it was going to be very mature, dark, violent, R-rated, and I felt like they were kind of maybe pushing that a little much sometimes in season 1, which, you know, I did really like the R rating and the dark and the greenness of it, but it does feel like here it's a lot more toned down, a lot more consistent, so it's really only going the R-rated violent route when it really needs to, and not just kind of trying to throw as much blood and gore in your face as possible. And this season focuses a bit more on the older Titans, you know, Hawk, Dove, Donna Troy, all of them, so characters like Raven and Beast Boy take a little bit of a back seat here, but they still are important to the story, which is good. But I think that leads to one of the strongest parts of the season, is seeing these older Titans, you know, scarred from the past. They're at the brink of collapse like at every turn they make, so trying to see these guys stay together, even though secrets from the past keep coming up that Dick kept from them, and just seeing all these horrible things come back to haunt them. Seeing these heroes struggle very, very hard to stay together, to stay motivated, to be heroes, that much I really, really liked about this season in particular. And there was this one episode where Deathstroke kidnapped Jason Todd, and of course, you know, the other Titans had to go and save him. And even online, I think DC Universe was trying to take a poll of whether or not Jason should die in Titans, which, you know, is kind of similar to how Jason Todd died in the comics with Death in the Family, because the fans voted to kill him off, which luckily he does survive in this season, because I was like, you know what, can we just let Jason Todd live for once, please, because nothing good ever happens when Jason Todd dies, whether he comes back as the Red Hood or the Arkham Knight or whatever, so I think just keeping Jason not dead, for now at least, is probably the way to go. So even though there are a lot of things in this season that I really, really liked, this season is unfortunately not without its issues. A lot of the episodes in this season rely heavily on flashbacks. Some are complete flashback episodes to begin with, you know, showing like what happened with the Titans versus Deathstroke in the past, which is relevant to the present, but it also feels like it does kind of lose focus a little bit, like they're trying to tell 2 seasons worth of story in one whole season, which does kind of distract from the main premise of the characters in the present time, which I really want to see more of that. You know, season 1 also did have this issue where it was a little unfocused, trying to set up all these other characters, which of course do end up playing an important role, but I do feel like this season does, for the most part, do a better job of focusing on the current storyline, but it does feel like the flashbacks do kind of get in the way in some areas. And not to mention that the first episode of season 2 is an extremely clunky one, because they took the ending of season 1 that they cut out. The season finale is season 1 for some reason, and then spliced it together with the beginnings of season 2. So the season begins abruptly where season 1 left off, with Raven versus Trigon, who she defeats in like 0.3 seconds, like it's no big deal. And then it moves into what season 2 is going to actually be about, with Dick, you know, reuniting with Bruce, trying to rekindle their relationship a bit, and then him moving to San Francisco to start the Titans again, and then Deathstroke gets introduced as the main villain of the show. So I really don't understand why they even cut down the ending of season 1 to begin with, because it just feels like you could have just easily tacked that onto the final seasons, then we can just focus on starting up the new season with what it's actually going to be about. So I don't know the full story behind that. There could be some really good reason behind that, I don't really know. And then spoiler for the final episode of the season, Donna Troy dies for some reason. It's something that could have just been really easily avoided, and it just feels like it was tacked on just to add some somber elements to the ending of the season, even though it's one of those comic book deaths that's gonna be probably very easily reversed when season 3 rolls around, so I really don't understand why they even bothered to put that in there to begin with. So season 2 of Titans is definitely not without its share of flaws like season 1 was, but I still think this is a really good follow-up to the first season. It feels more focused, for the most part. You know, we get some great new characters, a kick-ass villain in the form of Deathstroke, some really cool action scenes, so I do really look forward to what they do with season 3 of Titans. I think this is going to be one of those shows that just gets better and better and improves upon its issues as each season progresses, so I think season 2 definitely opens up the door to be even better than these first 2 seasons, so I really look forward to seeing what they do with these characters, give us some new ones, and maybe even a cool crossover with the Doom Patrol, because, you know, they got a season 2 coming as well. So, yeah, Titans 3, bring it on, bitch. So, those are my thoughts on Titans Season 2. And again, if you guys haven't already, please consider hitting that subscribe button if you live talking by movies as well as DC comic shows. But anyway, so, if you guys have seen Titans Season 2, then type that down below, and we'll see you on the Brockopp side.